this is Anne from Naomi's Home Health. Today I'm joining all things energy healing. I'm just waiting for her to join us, to jump on. I'll just make sure this is working. Oh, I've already invited her. It said I hadn't. Oh, technology. Is she coming on? Are you ready, Monica? Yep, it says you're invited. Oh, here we go. She wants to be in my video. Add. Yes. Here she comes. It's adding you now.
Hey!
Sometimes it adds before and sometimes it doesn't. Oh well.
We made it, which is great.
So Monica, would you like to tell us what it is that you do? Just quickly tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yep. Well, I think that my specialty is to see people's energy fields and work with the aura, the energy field, and what you are attracting into your energy field. I have discovered with many years of practice that there are certain parts of your energy fields that attracts different things. And by now I can see where your past traumas sit, where your future sits, where the things that you're doing are in your energy field. So I have lots and lots of fun dissecting people's auras and giving them guidance mostly.
Yeah, well, you did that for me when I was really unwell. You were one of the healers that I went to, and we did all those kinds of things, and then we worked together with essential oils and helping other people. You know, you've had your own health issues that you've healed as well, because, you know, we go to doctors and we might be able to get some form of treatment, but we need the extra, and that's where we've learned you've got to do it yourself in many ways, and you've done that with your skin and a few other things, allergies and stuff.
Yep, if anyone tells you that rosacea cannot be healed, well, I can tell them that it's not true. I remember, wow, like when I was living in New South Wales, being so embarrassed to go out because of the state of my skin and my rosacea. And when the thing is that when you are in those times in your life, you feel that you're never gonna move forward. You feel that it's kind of your life sentence. You feel that nothing is going to change, and you feel really hopeless and helpless.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I didn't want to go anywhere because I gained so much weight, and I was looking like drab, and I didn't even want to go anywhere. I just couldn't be bothered. And I'm sure a lot of people in this group can resonate with all of those things, and not feeling like you're getting anywhere and no one can help you, nobody believes you, and everyone just tells you just to deal with it, move on. You know, I'll go to another doctor, or haven't you been to a specialist? Don't you get blood tests? You know, none of those things, you know, are going to help you get to where you want to go. So the other day I watched you did a little video on about the mobile phone. Can you tell us a bit about what you discovered with that?
Yes, so like I said, because I can really tune into etheric fields and auras, I have realized that at times when your aura gets a little bit bombarded by what I call electromagnetic fog, what happens is that your aura, rather than being round and beautiful, multicolor, like imagine like a, can you see, do you know when you have a blow a bubble of soap? You know that it has that translucent rainbow? That's how it should look like. Instead, it looks really orange, red, and it's spiky. It's like it has been electrocuted. So after seeing that in so many people, and especially children, and having tons of confirmation, I can say that the electromagnetic fog, it's really passing our boundaries. It's really interfering in our energetic boundaries. And there is no permission. If there was my choice, I would say Wi-Fi needs to be visible. You know how gas doesn't have a smell, but they add a smell to it, so it's not dangerous for you? I think, okay, Wi-Fi and the electromagnetic fog cannot be seen, but let's add a color to it, because I need to know how that is interfering my energy field. So I, for example, have a timer for my Wi-Fi, so it turns off at nighttime and it turns on again in the morning. Well, you know that I turn my phone off on the weekend. So on Saturday afternoon, that's it. You cannot reach me until Sunday. And at times when I'm not too busy with work, I try to have a completely day free of devices. Because slowly it can really make a part of your aura. I'm not saying that it does it to your whole aura, but it can make a part of your aura permeable. And then that's when we get other troubles.
Are there other things that you can do? Like, I have salt lamps. Does that have anything to absorb any of that?
Yeah, definitely. Salt lamps, magnesium bath salts, walks in nature, swimming in the sea. That is a very way to get your aura. You know how surfers have this beautiful, clean aura around them? That is because of their connection with the seawater. Other things are obviously trying to support your nervous system in any way you can. So I love chamomile, for example, as a beautiful herb for that, and supporting anything to do with the nervous system health, because the nervous system, it's what, at the end of the day, regulates the electricity around your body. That's why nerve pain, it's like, you got like this, it's different pain. It's a different pain because it's like an electricity type of pain. We are all like batteries. And that is because we have electrolytes and we have water, blood constantly running. So that creates a powerful magnetic field around us. And we're powerful batteries. So at times I find like magnetic hematite or magnet therapy. It's very, very, very efficient. Charcoal, find it very efficient. And shungite, the little black rock. Very good to just get all that electricity so strong that your electromagnetic field cannot be compromised by anything else.
That's hard, isn't it? Because, you know, we work on our phones and computers all day, and the kids now are doing it at school all the time, so we're always taking on that energy. And it's really important. I always, you know, ground in before I start to make sure that my energy itself is not firing in different ways. So if you can sort of protect your own energy in that way, then I guess, you know, that's kind of helpful. I put in, you know, I've got a salt lamp in every room. I've got little bits of salt, rock salt everywhere. But, you know, with the kids, like, giving them less time on their devices and getting them outside in the sun, because the sun is so powerful, and it's our energy, it's our battery that recharges our batteries.
Totally. And I've been really honest with the kids. Like, my kids don't have devices. Well, my daughter just got given in year 8 a computer from the school, so that's kind of no choice. Unfortunately, my 10-year-old is the only one in her classroom that doesn't have a device that she owns. So yeah, I know it's really hard, and I know she's having a hard time, but I always try to tell her how I'm protecting her. And I'm be really honest with her and explaining her how energy works, explaining her how these things affect her. And I have been talking about online trigger depression for probably about 7 or 8 years. So they have grown up with me telling everyone that really, like, social media can create a next level type of depression, and next level type of low self-esteem. So they're kind of used to it. So we gotta be really honest with them. It's not like, no, you cannot have a device, or no, really take the time to explain them the reasons why.
Yeah. And, it's going to affect their sleep as well, and how their mind works, their eyesight. It's affecting all of us. But yeah, oh yes, definitely, like this whole posture all the time, their spine, everything's going to be out of alignment. And, we really need to support that with the kids. And I use a lot of, I don't know if essential oils might work, but I use protective blends a lot of the time, like tea tree, clove, On Guard from doTERRA is a good protective blend. Frankincense.
Totally. Frankincense, it's super important. And also hydration, it's really important. So what happens when we have an electromagnetic contamination, and if you have ever had a live blood test, you will know this, that the cells clump and they get all together. So essential oils like frankincense and cell nutrition, the bioactivation that we also talk about a lot, the NFR supplements and all of that, they create, like, basically what you're trying to do is create that electromagnetic boundary in each cell, because it starts from the cell, isn't it? And then it goes bigger and bigger and bigger. From the microcosm to the macrocosm. So creating that oxygen in your cells is very important.
Well, I don't think people realize, they look at toxins as chemicals in the home and things like that, but free radical damage can come from your mobile phone, your computer, too much exercise. There's a lot of things that can, the mobile phone towers, electricity outside. So what that does is damage each cell and causes oxidation in the cell, and we get oxidative stress. And if you go onto pubmed.gov, you will find that oxidative stress is the cause of pretty much every disease. So, and like you said with the cells, I've seen live blood samples of how it looks in the blood, and it's very dark. The blood's a different color. It's not as bright red. It has like a looks like a rotting apple, that brown color through it, and it all coagulates together. Instead of having the nice individual blood, and the cells of your body are all start, that's how you get tumors and things, because they start to bind, and then this one attracts another cell, and they all bind together into a tumor. So that is how these things can cause cellular damage in our body. And we don't look at our body as a cell, or multiple cells, millions of cells. We look at our body as a whole, physical, what we see, but we're not realizing that everything. So a cell is created, and then we have apoptosis, which is cellular death. But cells can't die if you don't have the right nutrition, and
I think they die, but they reproduce with the same information. It's a little bit like a bad uncle. That it just keeps procreating, and just is like, oh my God, you shouldn't be having any kids. Because it just creates with the wrong information, because cells pass down that information. So if we control that environment in which the cells are procreated, then they slowly create a better information. They slowly start repairing themselves. And that is what frankincense and essential oils do so beautifully, and supplements do so beautifully, because pharmaceuticals don't necessarily they can suppress the symptoms, and we need them at times. And sometimes, you're so tired of whatever is happening to you that a little bit of relief, it's fantastic. But we need to add all these extra things that actually educate the cells on how to do it on their own.
Yes, exactly. And like you said, hydration, we don't take seriously enough, because what people think, and particularly the fitness industry being a big industry, they're like, drink a lot of water and you'll be hydrated. And that's not actually true. So you do need to drink a lot of water, filtered water though. It's really important. There's no emphasis on that either. And I feel like because the chemicals in the water are going to affect your cells and dehydrate you. If you have your filtered water, it's obviously going to be different, but you also have fruit and vegetables with living water in it that can help your cells recreate and change that DNA damage and hydrate you at an actual cellular level instead of just, a bit of water. And if you're not absorbing the water properly or flushing it properly, if your kidneys aren't working, then you're going to have bloating and different things. But if you have food full of water, which is fresh fruit and vegetables and fresh herbs, then it's going to be, much better for you, instead of having a lot of fried food and things like that. It's very dehydrating. And cooked food, too much cooked food. If you're not having any raw food, you're not getting that living water.
Well, you know how I am with diet, so and I like in general, yes. The diet to me is really important. But I also, like for me, for my journey, and this might not be true for everyone, but salt, it's very necessary for me. And, I have very low blood pressure, so I don't have any issues with my blood pressure. Quite the opposite. Mine, it's always on the lower side. So I actually eat a lot of salt, more than sweets. And that, I feel it helps me with that oxygen around the cells. It helps me with keeping hydrated, and it really helps with everything working properly. So like you said, the salt lamps are great because you are not absorbing that. The ions are there. The negative ions are all around that. Because the phones, I think there is too much positive ions, so we have to contrast with a bit of salt. So that's why the magnesium bath, the seawater, the vegetables that have all beautiful natural salts, and the Himalayan salt. And I vary a bit. I go from Celtic salt to Himalayan salt, but I think don't be scared of. Obviously, if you don't have issues with your blood pressure, don't be scared of adding a little bit of salt to your food. So even to your water, bicarb, it's a great way as well. Just a pinch of, I have like a beautiful pharmaceutical bicarb, and and a little bit of salt into your foods and into your biscuits. They're great ways to help your body with that hydration that we have been talking about.
Yeah, definitely. Because, I always add my magnesium salt to my bath and for the kids, but I will add a chunk of pink rock salt as well. I pop that in because it's going to draw stuff out as well and hydrate you, because water is, when you bath in water, it's dehydrating. So particularly if you have unfiltered water on your bath tap, my whole house is filtered. I have every tap, even the front hose tap has filtered water. So we've got a system out the front. And so when I bath in it, I know it's going to make a difference. But if you're bathing in water full of chlorine, which per litre, our tap water has more chlorine than the local swimming pool. So you're going to bath in it and it's going to go into your skin. You're going to absorb it. There'll be more chlorine when you get out in your body than in the water. So when you leave the water, it'll be all the chlorine will be in your body.
Somewhere to bind itself. Then it's something to
it'll go straight into you. So if you're laying in the bath for an hour or whatever, that's where the chlorine is. You can do a test.
If you can get have that much time.
I don't even be bothered. I've been in the bath and then I'm like, Right. But it's good to have self-love and take some time to relax. And it's
Yes.
not very relaxing when you've got kids knocking on the door going, when's it my turn? But, you know, like you can get little test strips and test the chlorine in your tap water and go and, you know, put a little dish with water in it, test it, stick your fingers in it for 3 minutes and test the water again, and you'll see there's virtually no chlorine in it. It's
Wow.
all in your fingers. I've done that
Oh,
test, and
nice.
that's exactly what happens. So you're
That's
absorbing all of
really
the,
concerning. Mm.
yeah. And there is a lot of chlorine. That, like, they show you a little strip of what a pool should have in it, and it's much higher in our tap water than it is in the pool. So
No,
that's
definitely.
concerning.
Yeah, I don't recommend tap water either, unfortunately.
No.
I
So, you know,
understand why it's there. I understand it needs to be treated. I understand, that why it's like it is, but doesn't mean that I have to drink it or use it. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. And you know, we're talking about the cells and the energy and putting those chemicals, and particularly like it's got heavy metal in it, fluoride, all of those things, you know, on your energy field is going to, you know, create that disconnect with your cells and your whole aura, everything that you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. We get it really when our aura is very disrupted, or it's got these spaces of vulnerability. We get really lost in life. We get a little bit, we don't know where to go, we get stuck. So I love to help people really, as much as possible, getting rid of any junk that they have in their etheric field. And like I said, because we are electromagnetic beings, we attract a lot of things. It's not only the skin that it's absorbing these toxins, it's also our aura that it's absorbing these energetic toxins. And it is when you get lost. So by simply clearing your aura, you start finding that more clarity. And like specifically for thyroid, if there is something that I have learned with you and other women in the thyroid journey, it's that there is always something that they're not communicating. There is always something that they are not being able to express. It might be the body expression, it might be actual words, it might be that they're, and us as women, we put up with so much for the sake of our children and for the sake of people around us. So we don't want to hurt anyone, we don't want to create havoc, and we got to protect our children, and maybe the best way is for me to shut up. And seriously, in countries like Venezuela, for example, there is not as many thyroid issues as there is in countries where people, it's very polite. Like in more romantic countries, we just say what we are thinking, and we're just very expressive and very, you will call it full on, and a very passionate, but we are better at expressing
Definitely.
all those feelings and at telling people what we actually need and what we actually want. So it is also about learning to express ourselves. So then we can also move things from our etheric field. We can also move forward without holding on to all these things that we're not able, for Y or Z, being able to really get out of our body and being able to express.
Yeah, and I think that's, the British colonies like Australia and the USA and, England, it's very British to not express yourself. And sorry to any British people here, but I did live over there for a while too. My grandfather's English. I am,
My
father-in-law.
yeah.
They are very, and particularly here in Australia, everyone's so sensitive as well. You can't say what you think, even if you say it in the nicest possible way. I've had that issue a lot. I think that's why I stopped saying what I thought, because people would ask me what I think and I would tell them honestly, not brutally, or sometimes brutally, but, you know, I would tell them honestly what I thought, and then they'd get upset. So everybody gets this, oh my gosh, we can't say what we think because someone's going to get upset, or I'm going to be the worst in the world, or I'm going to lose a friend, or whatever. Even if it's something as simple as this, does this top look nice on me? People go, yeah, and it could look hideous because people get so offended now. And I think, you know, that's a really good, you know, I noticed that in your culture as well, that you also, the other thing that we did learn at a doTERRA convention was that in the culture here and Britain and the USA, we don't touch. We don't touch each other. We don't express in touch. And that is really important energetically. Like you guys, there was a study done, and cultures like the South Americans, I think the South Americans were the highest, where they touch each other when they see each other, and they, you know, a pat on the hand, a pat on the back,
Oh
an
yeah,
arm around.
you get to a party in Venezuela and there is 20 people, you kiss them all. It takes
Yeah.
you half an hour to say hello and an hour and a half to say goodbye, because you go around kissing and hugging everyone that is in the party, and then kissing and hugging everyone after when you leave. So it's a whole, but that's why COVID just spread like wildfire in Italy. And you know, because everyone in there is hugging, kissing each other. Yeah, 2 kisses. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it is incredibly true what you're saying. But also, I noticed when I moved to Australia, the amount of times that women say sorry. It's like, sorry, what for? Like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I couldn't understand that, because if I was standing on the road, instead of people saying, excuse me, they would say sorry. And I'm like, sorry, what for? I'm the one standing on the middle of the road, and she's just telling me sorry. And then I started doing it myself. And you know, and it's like, what? No, I'm not sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
You should be sorry.
And it becomes a habit to be, you know, so apologetic. And I noticed, yeah, well, that's why I just started, I'm going to do each day post something about a chakra, because the first chakra I learned about was the throat chakra, having a thyroid issue, because it was actually Penny who said to me, Penny is someone that Monica and I worked with doTERRA, and she kept on saying, what are you not expressing? I'm like, hang on a second, I'm always getting in trouble for expressing too much. But of course there were things, I just didn't look deep enough into it. Yeah. And she started talking about chakras, and I had no idea. And the throat chakra kept coming up, and I'm thinking, I don't know what she's talking about, because I say exactly what I think, but I don't. I do in many cases, but there's a lot where I hadn't, and there's a lot I hadn't dealt with. So, you know, that is really important. And that's why I wanted to share stuff about the chakras in the group so people could resonate. And it was even like my base chakra, the solar plexus. I was like, oh, this and this, you know, I didn't realize where it was out of balance.
And I think that when you are in a journey of your health, or in a journey when you want to, any journey that you want to be better than you are, and you're traveling to a better version of yourself, it is really hard to know what is really blocking you. So not even someone like me that have been practicing the chakra spirituality, energy healing for over 20 years, I don't have all the answers. It's really hard for me to move forward and to know, okay, why? Where am I not communicating? I can't see it. It's really hard to get out of your body and see from an outside perspective what the issue is. And that's why we always have mentors, we always have coaches, we always have healers. And you and me have never thought that, oh, we don't need anyone else. You know, we have always coached each other. We have always seeking help, and next. And something that I have realized with this journey, and when you are open to learn, and when you are open to listening to others, and when you are open to all that is, and when you don't give up, is that the longer you're in the journey, the more clearer the answer it's going to be. When I started having these panic attacks, and people is like, oh yeah, no, you're having a panic attack, and I'm like, fuck that, it's not a panic attack. And interestingly enough, that yesterday, just yesterday, because now it's on my face all the time, you know. I'm not gonna bother you with science, but my my reticular activating system, it's working for it now. And so even yesterday there was a post in the spiritual group in here saying my daughter is suffering from bedridden anxiety. She can't leave her room. And then she commented too, and she said, yeah, I just need to be close to a hospital. I just feel like I can't breathe. I just feel I'm having these shakes. And, you know, a lot of symptoms that I used to have. More than one person commented. It's like, oh yeah, food preservatives were doing that to me. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not alone. But it wasn't until I found a group like yours, and until I kind of pinpointed down about food preservatives, and I found a group like yours specifically for what I was or what I am going through, that I started getting heaps more clarity on what was happening to me and how to fix it and how to work with it. So I have worked a lot with the physical side of it, which I think it's really important. People think that, and especially in my industry, people think that you gotta start with the emotional side, and you gotta start with the spiritual side of it. And look, I tell you something, and how it works with this aura. An illness and a disruption and a disease starts indeed from the etheric body, from the etheric world, because it's going to be there before it's manifested in the 3D, in the material world. But it comes through the different layers and the different bodies. So once it gets to the physical body, you got to go backwards.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, you can't just go like, oh, let's start here, let's start meditating and see if I can fix this. Yeah, it's going to work, but at the same time, and I'm not saying don't do it, but at the same time, you gotta go kind of backwards. You gotta go from the physical to the mental, to the emotional, to the spiritual, blah, 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 blah. And finally, when your body has enough strength, then you have enough emotional strength to deal with, okay, so now what was it that I created? Now that I'm feeling much better in my physical body, now it's time to deal with the emotions. What is happening in the world right now and in the medical system that we're in is that we have an issue with the physical body, then we treat the physical body, and that's it. And then
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I know I particularly in this group, I see everyone just focusing on the physical, or are reliant on the medication or the blood work or the doctor. And that's kind of it. That's all they kind of want to know about. And that's why I refuse to allow that conversation in this group, because you can get that from your doctor. Go and get that from your doctor. This is a space of working on the physical, as in the nutrition and all of those things, and the supplements and whatever you can put in your body to help, because food can affect the emotional aspect of you. And you know, when you remove food and you put it back in, you go, oh, it's that that's doing it to me, or that's what gives me a headache, or that's what makes me bloated, whatever the physical reaction is, you know. So if you work on the food first and get that, and that's, I think too, people don't want to work on the emotional because it's too hard, because you're not feeling well and you don't even think, it's not emotional. I'm not emotional. I don't even have emotions. You know, you're very blocked off, and that's probably why you got into this.
But why do you think it's hard? Why do you think it's hard? Because we haven't practiced it.
That's right, and it's not something we're told to do or taught or anything. And even when you're younger,
once you get into it, it's not hard anymore.
That's right. When you're younger, it's like, don't cry, don't get upset. You know, don't express yourself.
Be quiet.
Be quiet. Say nothing. So we are learning all the time to not deal with it. And when you said before, you know, you need to be open to learning about healing, I can tell by comments in this group who is open and who isn't. There are people who are just ready to attack in comments, and I'm thinking, you know, that is where they're so closed, and some of them even take themselves out of the group because they don't want to hear it. They don't want to know any anything other than, they're in here to find out medication.
Today, and there was a group of women that I have never met. So probably I overstepped my boundaries, yeah? But at times I just can't help myself because what I want to do is I want to help. So there was a lot of complaining around me. And then I said, I gave some suggestions, and then there was all of the sudden like, woof, a big wall. However, it stopped the complaining. So at times I think that people, what we gotta be really, really, really careful, it's not to become our illness, not to become that drama. Don't allow that to overstep your boundaries of your etheric field. And when we gotta give our illness boundaries too, you know, no, today you're not ruling my life. No, today you're not stopping that. No, I'm not going to use you today. And I see that so often in many areas because the collective consciousness loves drama, loves it. Yeah. So I will be a spiritual healer and a very famous one, and I will start, my life was terrible. And then I did this spiritual healing and my life changed. Now I am reborn because I did this spiritual healing. And it's like, what? You could have solved the spiritual healing without the drama. Yeah. But drama sells. So people use it, and it's on Hollywood, it's on TV, it's everywhere. So people love to hold into that drama. The first step of working with your emotional body is to take responsibility and to say like, fuck, I got here somehow. I can get out of here somehow.
Exactly. And I found that when I first was unwell, you would see people and they go, you know, you talk about being sick, and you kept on telling your body that you're sick because you're talking about it. So I stopped.
And we are sick from the throat chakra. So it's just like a big vicious circle. That's why I love it when you come out with affirmations in your group. Because that's fabulous. Yeah. Sorry.
That's right. Lots of people ask me about, you know, where's your next affirmation? Because it's important to change your language around your illness. Instead of saying I'm sick, you can say I'm healing, or I'm better, or I'm, you know, or today I feel and have a positive, you know, and someone, my friend Lana, you know, Lana said to me one day, when I was just so negative about it, I was sick of being sick and blah, blah, blah. And I had done a lot of work and I had made changes and I was better, but I was always a perfectionist. I wanted to be like back to doing everything I was and whatever. And she said, stop looking at how far you have to go and look at how far you've come. So even if you have just taken gluten out of your diet, celebrate that. You know, you might not have done all the other things that you need to do yet, but you will, and it's not going to happen tomorrow. And you can't go, I don't ever tell anyone, rightio, get rid of this, 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 and this. I always say make one change. Like if we're talking about removing toxins, the first thing I say is either your deodorant or your perfume. Pick one. And that's it. You know, you don't want to go, rightio, and chuck everything out and you stop doing everything. It's overwhelming. You're going to quit. So
unless you and me,
unless it's you and me, who's, you know, off the
like,
scales.
well, okay, water fast for the next 7 days. Like, oh my God.
But the majority of people can handle one thing at a time, and that's what I tell them. Just do one. You know, start reducing your gluten or whatever. Pick one. You know, if you
grains in general, like having like I see your journey, and I'm so wary of grains, and I had the opportunity to remove grains out of my diet for about 8 weeks. And when I am a rice grain. I love rice. And when I introduced rice back again, even brown rice, the amount of energy that takes from me, it's like, oh my God, eating rice is exhausting.
Yeah, I found the same. I just felt like if I go and have Thai, for example, I'll get a green curry and I'll say no rice, just extra vegetables. and I feel a lot better than if I was to have the rice with it. I feel full, but I'm not bloated full, or I'm not, just that, like you want to come home and have a sleep.
Yes.
Like it's a
Yeah.
different
No,
feeling.
thyroid and grains to me are definitely what I have seen in my practice. Are definitely no good friends. But hey, we're not gonna go into diet because that will be another life.
But we have discussed a lot, and I hope that
Yes.
someone's got something out of this, whether they've made a change or whether even if they're just putting some frankincense on when they're using their phone, whatever.
Be inspired by our chat, and then
That's
know
right.
that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that you don't stop looking for answers. Don't stop looking for answers.
Yeah.
That
And
would
don't stop
be
trying.
my biggest advice. Don't stop looking for answers, because you will find them. You will find them.
Exactly. But you'll get there, and it will happen.
You'll get there.
And yeah, these sorts of conversations with people who have done it are what you want to listen to,
Yep.
basically.
And I never said they are the easy paths. Like the way we have healed has not, I don't say it has been easy.
No way.
Like, no, I don't think it's easy. And not only that, I find that for me, it takes a lot of social strength, if there is anything like that. But to really stick to my guns, and when the friend comes with the Baileys, say, hey, let's get drunk, and it's like, man, I can't drink Baileys. Like, what are you thinking, Baileys? It does takes a lot of strength. Or when people comes and gives you a box of chocolates, and you're like, oh my God, what do I do now? Like, thank you so much. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I don't eat those chocolates. So it takes a lot of social strength. Also, let's go out to this Chinese restaurant for dinner. And it's like, what? I can't eat preservatives. Like, how is it gonna work? So and you get more confident. You seriously get more confident on ordering at restaurants, on talking to your doctor, on talking to your friends. At the start might seem really, really hard, but you definitely get, like, I remember the time, probably, I don't know, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, my husband going, is like, Monica, you gotta tell people that you are lactose intolerant. You can't just eat cheese and cream to be polite. Like, and then come home and spend all night vomiting. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I probably should do that. And that's when I got the strength. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, because we're always told as kids, you can't be a fussy eater. You gotta eat all what I said you. Eat that, eat that, eat that. And I'm not a fussy eater. But the only thing I didn't eat was dairies. And guess what? You gotta eat dairies, force-fed yogurt, cheese, milk, because I needed it for something, for calcium, or because my parents are Italians, whatever it was. Yeah, so now when we're like, mate, I understand that grains and gluten, it's not good for me, but we don't have sometimes the strength, the social strength to tell people about it, or to stick to our guns and say, well, I'm trying to heal in a little bit of a different way.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna have to be with me now.
If people have asked me about removing foods, and I say, look, if I had to choose which I would remove first, what do I remove first? Because they're eating everything, would be the preservatives, processed food. Because even if you're eating gluten or whatever, if you had to choose one, processed food, at least that to start with, because it's not real food. It doesn't make you full. It's got chemicals. If you could get rid of that first and then work on the rest down the track, if you've done nothing, if you're eating everything, if you're having whatever, start there, because then at least you're making real food. Even if you're having pasta with vegetables in it, that's better than having, a box of chicken nuggets or something like that.
Well, my husband sometimes tells me, it's like, in which world you live? Like, because he always think I'm in fairyland, but that's my theory. If I'm fairyland and fairyland works, I'm happy with Fairyland. Because why do I have to live on this hardship when Fairyland exists? And at times I'm like, they sell these at the supermarket, and it's like, have you read the English? Like, who eats that? And he's like, plenty of people eats that. And I'm like, no, people won't eat this, will they? But then I seriously, I'm the one of the very few people that sits there reading the ingredients. I ask people, have you read the ingredients of that? And like, no. I was like, I find it so interesting that there is people that eat something without reading the ingredients, because I'm so far from that. Not even my kids do it. And my husband, I think they have been living with me for too long. But my kids, no. We go to the supermarket and they turn around, they read the ingredients, and they know if I'm going to buy it for them or not. So when they come to me and say, Mommy, can we have this? Look, with the marshmallows, for example. Mommy, look, marshmallows only have egg whites, that. It's like, okay, I'll get the marshmallows. But they know that I won't buy numbers for them or anything like that. So it's very important. Like what you're saying, what is one of the first changes? Start reading the ingredients. Start reading ingredients.
Yeah, I agree. That's the most important thing, really, to know know what you're eating and be aware. Like, you know, there's a difference between eating some really nice produced camembert to eating a cheese string, or whatever. Like, my kids they've never been in the house, but they go to friends' houses and they get these things that are like plastic, and I don't know what they're made of.
They probably are plastic.
Yeah, but you know, if I allow my kids to eat dairy, it's a nice camembert with some rice crackers. Like, because they're kids.
My brother-in-law is starting to make cheese, and it's like, oh my God, that's when I wish I could eat cheese. He sends us these photos, and it's like, oh no, stop it now.
Yeah, cheese is my chocolate. I can live without chocolate, but cheese, and I don't really eat cheese. But if I went to someone's house and they had a cheese platter, I'm going to let myself have a couple of pieces. It doesn't affect me. Like, I don't ever feel anything digestively, probably because I'm only having a little bit or whatever. But before, when I was sick, I wasn't allowing that. But now that I feel better, it's like, it takes away the stress. You know, it's stress to not have all these things.
Yeah, and look, if there is 7 billion people in the world, there is 7 billion diets. And that's when the social stress that I was talking about comes in. That people, it's really not going to understand that we are not all made to eat everything. And because we are so lucky in this day and age that we can get all this variety of foods and vegetables. You know, I have been born in the Caribbean. I have never done well with winter fruits. They're not for me. You know, I do eat apples now and pears and things like that, but mate, I am a banana, pineapple, pawpaw, coconut kind of person. You know?
I love all of that, and it's expensive. Yeah. Of course, you like it.
Well, and it's not super fresh. So you gotta really figure out what is your diet, and this journey takes time. That's why you have to be patient, and that's why you have to have answers. As long as you're moving forward, and as long as you feel better, then you're going to have all the strength to reverse anything, you know? And then maybe another time we can really get deeper into cellular memory, and we can get all the people in this group into understanding a little bit deeper how the energy works at a cellular level, and how we can rewrite this cellular memory too.
Yeah. Beautiful. I agree. Everything. We could go on for hours, really.
Yes, we could.
We could, but people might be bored of us by now. No, I doubt they'd be bored of us. But
yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us, and you know, we'll do another one where we talk about everything else. And Monica is on Facebook, Instagram as The Enchantress. So look her up, look her services up, and yeah, talk to Mon about all the things that we've just spoken about. Thanks,
Thank
Mon.
you so much for the time, and mwah, love you lots.
Love you. Bye.